We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us out and birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhớ thiết chúng sanh, thịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoáng tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Thổ Sư Chế Đô Ye Ở La Hờ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Tát Tát Tha Tô Già Đa Già A La Ha Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Thoa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual doctrines. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian, 万劫难遭遇，我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Jing Liang, Great Master, is it Jing Liang? Yeah. Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good new advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大师、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识, Emitofuo. Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư, Thượng Nhẫn Hóa, quý thầy cô và các vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the what day? 24th of August 2025. Thank you for joining our discussion of the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. We are on slide 166. This section in general is the area where the celestial kings, the bigwigs in the universe, in our world in particular, would speak Dharma by contemplating his own people. So he's a king. The Kumbhana king rules over the Kumbhana ghosts. Therefore, when he speaks Dharma, he addresses them first, right? And also says here, so you speak Dharma to benefit your to do your job. This is a primary work for the Bodhisattvas, Mahasattva. They speak Dharma. It's number one thing. And he also says that the Buddha used his spiritual power to aid this Kumbhana king to speak Dharma, just to make sure that he doesn't say the wrong things. Okay? You speak Dharma and say the wrong things, you fall the animal realm. Okay, you say stupid things, you fall animal realm, and that's how it is. And so, but it's more than that. He's also wants to make sure that the celestial king also learns from from speaking Dharma as well. And so I have a question for all of you. So he speaks, this celestial king, Kumbhana king, talks because he sees what he sees. And then he also receives help from the Buddha. All right? So when he speaks about this, which is which? Which part is his own things he can see, which is what Buddha's disciples are supposed to do? When you speak Dharma, you're supposed to speak about your experiences, your own personal understanding. Xin te, xin is mind, te is attainment. So the attainments of your mind, what you're able to understand then from your wisdom, your own wisdom. Which part is the Buddha's wisdom? How do we know? Isn't that cheating? Like you speak Dharma and you say, Buddha, help me, and you speak, and then... So which part is the Buddha, which part is their own? It's funny that most Buddhist disciples read this in the Avatamsaka Sutra. Say every time these bodhisattvas speak Dharma, it's always with the Buddha's help. So what's the point in cultivating if the Buddha is always helping you? Isn't it easier for you before you speak Dharma, you come up here, which you will, by the way, all of you. Huh? I promise you that. Your turn will come, your time will come. Huh? And as a digression, I will give you plenty of chances to have exposure so that you can speak from your experiences. We send you to Europe, we send you to, everywhere, so that you have a wealth of exposure. So just that you develop your own experiences. Okay? If that interests you. If you still want to stay under mama's skirt, that's okay too. All right? So speaking Dharma is something very personal. Okay? So, but how do you know which part is Buddha's help, which part is your own wisdom? Anyone? Funny, no one ever asked that, you know that? In the history of these Avatamsaka Sutra explanations, no one ever bothered asking. And it takes about 10 years, by the way, for you to prepare to speak Dharma. We want to give you time, plenty of time to prepare. Anything shorter, your Dharma is kind of shallow. Yes, Master Z, numero uno, how appropriate.
Master, is that the distinction for the listeners or for the speaker himself?
What do you mean?
Because to recognize the speaker's experience or the Buddha wisdom, the way we distinguish between two for the audience or for the speaker himself.
Not clear about what you're trying to say.
Because I think from the audience themselves, they can just listen. They don't have to. To me, they don't have to distinguish between the speaker's experience and...
Correct. 100% agree. But you ask yourself, this is my question, the thing that, because it never happened to me before, so when it happens to me, I want to know, is it from me, is it from the Buddha? If it's from the Buddha, all of it, then what's the point in me going to Europe, going to East Coast, going to Nepal, going to hibernation?
I think if it's beneficial for the audience, then it doesn't matter it's from the speaker experience or the Buddha.
True.
But then I think the speaker, if he knows his own experience and when he prays, and then he knows that maybe there are some vision, some idea that came to the mind, and that he recognized maybe that help.
I have bad news for you. you're ready to speak Dharma. No need to wait anymore. Some of you are faster than others. That's very good. It turns out that, again, when you speak Dharma, you want to speak from your own heart. Okay, so where does the Buddha's help come in? Meaning you speak from your own heart, meaning that's how you connect with the audience. Okay, because these people have connection with you, and that's what you use to build to strengthen the bonds. That's very important. Okay, that's one aspect of Dharma speaking that's very important. To strengthen the bonds so that later in the future lives, they keep on coming. As soon as they hear your name, they come. They like it, okay? Because that's personal connection. So the Buddha's help comes in that they imperceptibly nudge you so that you say the right things. So the help is very subtle because you speak from your own experience, like I teach you to do. Sometimes you can go so far with your experience, with your connections. But the Buddha, and then, this will benefit this group of people here, so he would nudge you a little bit. So it's actually helping open your wisdom. This is why you want to speak Dharma. Now everyone wants to speak Dharma. They don't need Master YongHua's help anymore. Isn't that cool? That's why Buddhas do this, because it's not for the sake of impressing the audience, and you got it. It's for the sake of helping you deepen your wisdom. Isn't that cool? Never mind. So hard to impress you. Okay, now you understand why you want to learn to speak Dharma, because that's part of your job. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will naturally help you and correct you in areas that's still fuzzy to you. Okay? This is how you get trained as well. Part of your training is speak Dharma with a very humble mind. Don't speak Dharma, the Dharma thinking you know it all. You don't need anyone. You need to understand that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas invisibly helping us. If you're humble, if we're humble. Okay? That's very important. This is what my peers never learned. I learned from them because a long, long time ago, 20 years ago, I was forced to speak Dharma when I was only a novice. It's nerve-wracking. You sit there in the city of 10,000 Buddhas, and there are like 200 pairs of eyes of these nuns who have nothing to do but sit behind four walls and meditate. So when they hear this idiot speaking up, they'll open their eyes. And it's frightening. You have stage fright, let me tell you. And it's not a good way to train people unless you prepare them for stage fright. Okay, so this monk here who did me a lot of harm, but he did a lot of good for me too. He's now gone because he tried to harm me, he eternally life, and he taught me. He said, his samadhi is non-existent, but he speaks good Dharma. And he said very proudly, he said, why I speak my Dharma? I speak Dharma so well. I said, why, Master? He says, every time I taught some of you already, every time I speak Dharma, I pray to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and ask for help. And that worked. Except that's what Master YongHua taught him. And except that he didn't teach him that you're supposed to be humble. If you're more humble, then the help is more significant. Okay? You only get as much help as your mind allows Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to help. Okay. So that's why you notice every time before lecture I will go like this with you as well. Please help, please help, please help, please help. Otherwise I panic. All right. Kumbhana King, it says, in the past, in all places, the Buddha cultivated an ocean of practices. I think we started this, we never could finish it. Buddhas, they are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are very open-minded. They are so hungry to learn. They never said, no, I learned enough, no, I'm the expert. You never find them with that kind of mindset, I'm the best. Just no such thing as, I'm the best in my profession. No, they always are cultivating an ocean of practices. Learn more and more and more. They never stop. Does it make sense to you? They never declare themselves to being expert. Okay? In all places, not only do they learn a lot of things, but they go to different places to seek out. Okay? Oh, no. It's not in all places. I think I made the correction last time. Universally, here, it means universally, meaning that he practiced all sorts of practices. The all places later here, in the 10 direction. Here's all places. Okay? They never repeat themselves. You see, that's why Shu Fang here is in the 10 directions, meaning everywhere. Pu here is universally, meaning they practice all sorts of practices. Okay? They give it to the Vietnamese, they practice giving to the Chinese, they practice giving to Sri Lankan, they practice giving to the Thai, everyone, man, woman, child, that means everything. All right? And so this mindset here is like they're insatiable. They want to learn, they want to practice, and want to practice more and more and more. Okay? And so that's what is represented by this word ocean of practices. Teaching and transforming measureless multitudes in 10 directions. And when they learn these things, is for the purpose of teaching and transforming. Teaching is when you give knowledge. Okay, when you talk about teacher, it's a two-part. You give knowledge and you also guide them, so that they can understand. Their knowledge becomes deeper, more profound, more vast. So teaching and guiding usually comes in pairs. Okay. You nudge them, push them, give them assignments, ask questions, give them field trips and so forth. It's called teaching. Transforming is that the purpose of teaching. Okay, 教化. 教 is to teach the mind. 化 is what? 化 is to transform the nature. That's a job of a teacher. That's a job of the parents, by the way. If you really want to teach, you have to do 教化, teach and transform. That's education, by the way. Education is not simply imparting knowledge. It's not only teaching and guiding alone. Most teachers nowadays in our educational system, they only teach, they don't guide. That's why they have the teacher and then a counselor, guidance, and so forth. Okay, so you need to have the dual function here. Teacher has two hats: teaching, give knowledge; guiding is push, nudge you in that direction. Okay, don't allow you to go this way. Shut the door there, so you go sideways this way. See, that's guidance. Got that? Okay, this is very important. You have children, you have younger people, you have people you need to train, need to understand the two parts, teaching and guiding. Okay? For you, that's what you need to look at, how you need to look at your husband, teaching and guiding. Men find it funny. They don't. So much work. I said, really? Can I just be a housewife? No. Okay? So, are you paying attention, you Koreans too as well? Korean women? Teaching, it's teaching and guiding as well. Is that clear? Okay. And the other part is transforming. Transforming is that, so teaching, guiding has to do with your intellect, your understanding, okay? Transforming has to do with your heart. This is where the current education system falls short. They only give you knowledge up here. They don't change your heart. And this is what differentiates between successful people and average people. Look at the important discoveries, the big producers, the great architects, the great artists, okay? What they really need to contribute big time is the heart. Van Gogh, think of Vincent van Gogh. He didn't really go to school at all. He didn't do well in his classes. But the heart is so big. In spite of all his difficulties, his suffering, his insanity, okay? It's the heart that helped him become such a fantastic artist. Okay? And to me personally, just a personal note, I have more respect for Van Gogh than for Picasso. You know why? One is crazy, one is horny. Excuse me. Just kidding. You know what I mean, huh? G.I. Joe, huh? How did horny come from? Where does it come from? Yes, sir. Now touch someone's heart. 3.
I think what you meant to say is one is rich and one is poor. You like the poor person.
No, I mean horny.
Okay, I tried to save you, but never mind.
That's how, thank you, nice try. It's how they got inspiration, by the way. Okay? They have this insatiable thirst. That's what inspired them to go further and further and further. You guys are not really artists. That's why you wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. Yes, Master C. 1.
They're both now your disciples, Master.
So I can badmouth my disciples now? Yes, sir. 3.
Where is the distinction between that desire to create and achieve and the attachment to create and achieve?
Desire to achieve and attachment to achieve. It's circumstances, really. It's really not, the distinction is not as important. I tell you the key thing about why these people are so creative. Would you like to know? No, not for women. It's for men. Some things are appropriate for women. It's more for men for this kind of topic. What's the key? Why is Vincent van Gogh a lot more original than Picasso in my mind? I don't understand art that much, but I see Van Gogh creates a deeper impression in me, in a way, somehow, than Picasso. Because every time I see Picasso, I see his many girlfriends, shape his girlfriends. Squarish, the elbow, square. What? words. Go back to sleep. You think you see a square? No, I see an elbow of a woman. You like that too much, Martina. Yes, 3.
Because one doodled his art and one painted what he felt in his heart.
Not bad, not bad. You go ahead. What?
It's similar to Brady's
Similar?
idea. Yeah, because
Great minds meet. Okay.
I think Van Gogh, he's worked more from the heart, from the.
More from the heart. Very good. Then the obvious question is, how do you work from the heart then? Right? If you think it's because he works from the heart rather than working from the head, because this is a head, the square is a head, right? I mean, the arm is a head. Okay, so how do you work from the heart? That's the follow-up question. How do you go into arts and stuff and we're not even nowhere near being artists? Yes, 1.
Maybe it's part of his much less thinking than.
Less thinking, very good, but they are not into less thinking, they're into thinking. You know, these guys are not about not thinking. Yes, 9.
Van Gogh suffered a lot.
Excellent. That's it. The key, I feel that, and I have no proof, just from a Chan perspective, from cultivation perspective, the reason Van Gogh touches my heart more because I see he's suffering more. Okay? When you suffer, you stop thinking. This is what ordinary people do. When they suffer, when the suffering reaches an extreme point, they stop thinking. That's why artists need to suffer. Picasso, he suffered initially, but once he became famous, he didn't have to suffer anymore. Now he started chasing women. So the rest of his work, the work later in his career, are not lack depth, if you ask me. Yes, sir. See, that's why women take a break. Yeah.
Master, it seems to me also there is a certain amount of blessings involved because Van Gogh spoke a language that nobody before, during that time, or since speaks. It's a realm unto itself.
Yeah, the suffering is so intense, you cannot imagine.
But that seems to me like blessings or whatever you would want to call it.
Yes. Blessings manifest themselves sometimes as suffering, and sometimes as poverty, sometimes as suicide. Yeah, so that they can produce and they're gone. That's blessings. They're done. Yes, go for us.
Hi, Master. I'm over here at.
Oh, sister.
Hi.
Yeah.
I think Yong has something to say.
They volunteer the men and go forth. They say that's how women are and go forth.
Yeah, Emitofuo Master. I think Master summarized very accurate, so we should accept it.
He agree with me. So somehow he sounds insincere to you, don't you? Very good. Isn't it interesting? This is why if your child want to be an artist, Put him through the grinders. Don't give him anything. Let him suffer. Okay? And you're right. Van Gogh is not only poor and so forth, and a lot of suffering, but he on top of it, he's crazy. He suffered to the point he became crazy. Yeah, if you think you're depressed, for example, it ain't anywhere near his level of depression, to the point he killed himself. Huh? Huh? To the point where he's desperate for love, to the point he cut his own ears. Huh? And that's how he expressed himself. The pain is what compels him to express himself in a way that is so original. Each time it's from his own experience of pain and suffering. Whereas Picasso, as I said towards the end of his career, is the expression of his success. So coasting. But Van Gogh never could coast because he's suffering his entire life. That's why it's a lot more original. Anyway, going back to the Avatamsaka Sutra. So transforming, okay? Transforming is, Master Shio explained it in his teaching to my generation. He says transforming is to make something is not there appear. Okay? That's correct. That's the generic definition of transform. It wasn't there before, and you make it appear, that's to transform. But actually here, in the context here, teaching transforming here, the transforming here, as far as bodhisattvas are concerned, it's not about making things appear. It's magic. It's not a big deal. What they want is transform our natures so that we become gooder. The challenge of the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas is bring the goodness out of us. That's why they teach the Dharma. Okay? So there's a lot more demanding. With various expedients, he benefits all living beings. Again, is driven by benefiting all living beings, no discrimination. Okay, benefits all Hispanics, all Vietnam, all Caucasian alike. No discrimination. Okay, no preferential treatment either. Yes, one.
Master, I have a question. So when, like, someone wants to take refuge in Master, and then they receive the precept substance from Master, is that time they transformed? That means the teacher have to have the substance to give the receiver for them to be able to transform.
Oh God, it's too detailed. But since you asked, I will teach you. The substance is like a seed. So when you take refuge with a Dharma master, the Dharma master's job is to give you the seeds, his precept substance, meaning that he's got to be pure enough. Whatever his purity level is, when he accepts disciples, he will transfer it to his disciples. Okay, so the seeds is there. It's like you were born into a royal family. So your seeds are, you have royal blood, for example. The analogy is like that. So now you're entitled to be nobility, monarchs, kings, and so forth, emperors and so forth, because that's the nature of the seeds. That's the nature of the bloodline. Okay? Meaning that even though now you have a brother who is a crown prince, but if he dies, you can be moved up because you have the substance, you have the bloodline of the royalties already. Okay? So the analogy is meant to point out to you that the substance is like a bloodline. It's very important. It enables you to reach the same level, meaning you are the bloodline of a Spanish king. You have the bloodline of a Monaco prince. You have the bloodline of a British monarch. Okay, it doesn't matter you're a man or woman, the same. You have the bloodline already. Okay, so that bloodline is very important. Okay, however it comes out, whether you become a monarch or you become a duke or whatever, that's all the aspects of life. But the substance is still the same. It's the same bloodline. They're all qualified to become just like me. Okay? All right. So, on the other hand, if your bloodline is purer than mine, I always ask myself questions because you guys don't know what to ask me, how to ask me. I got bored. No one challenges me anymore. So what if your bloodline is purer than my bloodline? It happens. There are many of you, some of you who pretend to be low lives, actually you are Mahasattvas, Bodhisattvas, and you say, can I take refuge with you? I say, oh, sure, let me give you a name. Let me come up with a name. You, I will call you not real, unreal. So what happens when the bloodline you're receiving is not as good as your bloodline? What happens? You asked, now you can answer.
I think the person who's purer will be able to transform that.
Now you can transform me. There you go, you're right. That's exactly what happened. Buddhas, Bodhisattvas come, pretend to take your refuge with you, actually they're teaching you. In Mahayana, it's so multifaceted that the roles it's not always the way you think. It's so cool. You can take nothing for granted. Okay, so for example, in China world, there are lots of masters Chan masters who took refuge under this his teacher, and they went on, became enlightened, and looked back at his teacher and said, I better help him. So he came back and became the attendant and slave for him, so that he has a chance to just nudge him and nudge him and nudge him and nudge him. So that this guy is saved and doesn't get in trouble. Okay? Yeah. So, all right. Very good. Any other questions? Okay, this dragon ruler attains his passion and liberation. Again, this kind of odd thing. Kumbhanda, he's a ghost. Okay? King who rules over dragons. Okay, you see, it's not the way it looks. He's Kumbhana ghost, which is troublemaker and low life. Okay, they sneak around, they in-world. But dragons like young, very young, and they actually have dominion over the dragons. That's Mahayana for you. Keep an open mind. Okay, don't be so inflexible. 169. With great wisdom, the Buddha rescues sentient beings. He knows and understands their minds without exception.
佛以大智救众生，莫不明了知其心。
He tames and rescues them with various feats of self-mastery, adorning banners, sees this and rejoices.
种种自在而调伏，言床见此生欢喜。
Okay. In great wisdom, the Buddha rescues sentient beings. Very simply put, in order to save living beings, to be able to save living beings, you need to have great wisdom. Meaning that you think you're helping, you think you have a higher degree, you have a PhD, you have more experience, and you help, you're going to save someone. Chances are that you're not. It takes a lot of wisdom to be able to really help someone. Okay? So meaning it doesn't matter. Don't take it yourself so seriously. Try your best to help your children, try your best to help your students, but you really want to help, you have to open wisdom. So I like it. I saw that Master YongHua encouraged his disciples to go get PhDs and teach and so forth. This is one aspect of it, okay, that I really like. It's very useful. If you go to universities, get a degree, and then which qualifies you to teach, okay, then you can use those credentials combined with your wisdom to teach, which is a very, very good thing that you can do to enhance the educational system. So that's a plus, big thing that Master YongHua did. Okay? I feel it's a good thing. Okay? I know in the past I criticized him. I said, I don't like it because I saw his PhD students. Some of them are professors, and I'm totally unimpressed with them. Okay? Only because it's their case is only where they to fool themselves. Okay, you cannot impress us with your degrees, for example. So it's nothing to be proud of. Okay, for us is what is your level of wisdom so that you can do the rescuing. Okay, but it's not a bad thing. In the future, there will be some of you who are more inclined to go get a PhD degree and master's degree and so forth. My encouragement for you is to use those credentials to teach and transform your students. You know why? Because you'll be a better teacher because you have more wisdom than a typical teachers who's trained by knowledge only, okay? They don't understand the importance of developing wisdom. So in your case, for example, if you can get a scholarship to get a PhD at your university, I would go for it. I give you room and time to do it, okay? And you'll be sitting across the table with your the other Mahathera PhDs, and you say, I think we should teach more Mahayana things. Okay? But I will not pay for it. You better, because something, I feel is useless, you have to get them to pay for it themselves, or someone else to pay for it. Oh, the Vietnam people, they love for their monks to get a PhD. Master's PhD, and many Vietnamese here at Way Mountain Temple. Master Z can introduce you to a few. Okay, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, they love you to get PhDs and degrees. It's not a bad thing to do, yeah? I want you to go everywhere. Don't be so boring. Don't always be sitting here and talking. You can go to university, go to college and teach a bunch of new kids. One of them will probably be a big man, a great man, and will benefit society. Then your time is well spent. Okay, Buddha rescues living beings. And the point here, Master Shih also points out very important is that you need to look at people's potential. I tried to tell you from day one, you are second dhyana, you're fourth dhyana, you're fourth stage arhat, you are 1G, you're 5G. Just to remind you that you need to see people's level. It's from day one. 10, 20 years ago when I 30 years ago, 25 years ago, when I was preparing myself to teach, I said, I have to recognize people's level because each level has its own unique obstruction, all unique challenges, okay? So that's why he says here, according to their potential. If you're at 1G, that has the potential to go so far, but it has obstruction. So therefore, you know what's stopping 1G to go to 2G, to go to 5G, okay? That's why you need to know. And that's very critical for your work. So that's what Buddhas do. They have the 10 uncommon, unshared powers, one of which is they can know living beings' potential, okay? So they can recognize living beings' potential. They know their levels, how far they can go, how much they can absorb, okay? So that's the one thing that you should be aware of. He knows and understands a mind without exception, okay? Recognizing potential is not enough. You need to also understand how they think, okay? And we're not talking alone about knowledge, but we're talking about cultures. This is why I hope you be a lot more open-minded, more cultural, okay? That you can learn to get along with people of different cultures. That's why I hope to be able to send you to different cultures, okay? So that you are more cosmopolitan, much more multifaceted, so that you can have a broader view of humanity, okay? And to understand people's minds, okay? I'm not impressed when people say, I'm gonna work hard so that I can save Koreans. I want to save Vietnamese. That's not good enough for you. Okay? Yes, sir. 5.
Thank you, Master. This understanding of their minds without exception, it's part of the Southern teaching?
No. You could call it psychology. Or you call it technology. You understand how to engineer things. What makes a doctor tick. Okay? See that? Not only cultures, but also professions, also liking, hobbies, baseball, football. I'm talking about life here, folks. We're not talking about cultivating behind the four walls. That's Hinayana. You need to engage, okay? You need to engage in the Hispanic culture, in a Jewish culture, Indian culture, okay? So that we understand their minds. And you don't have to do it all. Maybe one of you will go to India, open an iPhone factory, and support the temple, and so forth, okay? I want you to be multicultural and open-minded. Learn. It's fun. Okay? Yeah. All right. He tames, subdues them with various feats of self-mastery. Tiao Fu. Tiao is tames. It's funny that Buddha uses the word tame and subdues. Okay? Tame is that these people are wild. People's minds, they're wild, they're uncontrollable. So you need to know how to tame their minds. Okay? And subdues is that, to tame is that they will listen to you like a horse. You keep on riding a horse long enough after it throws you on the ground about 20 times and you're not dead, okay, and you recover from your broken ribs and arms and so forth, and eventually and you can subdue them. Yeah? Maybe. You have no faith in yourself. Subdue is that you need to be stronger. Men, think of subduing your wives, your girlfriends, when they're in a manic mode. And I remember this. I remember one of my ex-disciple, I don't think she comes to the temples anymore for a long time now, 10 years now. She's very manic. I don't know who's manic here. I'm manic, that's why I know what I'm talking about. And you too, yeah, that one there. Okay, that's true. When you're manic, you go berserk. You don't listen. Okay? You don't listen to reason. Don't talk about reason. Don't talk about... you just go berserk. Okay? And I didn't realize it. She would throw tantrum like that. I couldn't understand why. I said, one moment you seem normal, next moment you go, you're just totally the opposite. And she says, so I said, after a while, I said, how long had you been with your boyfriend? She says, several years. I said, is that why that he only sees you like a few times a month? That's his secret for staying with you? He says, yeah, maybe so. Now I come to think that maybe you're right. But I said, but what happens when he sees you and you're in that manic mode? Uncontrollable. What does he do? She says something very interesting. Now Jim is interested. I don't know why, but he says, every time, this is one of the reasons that I stuck with him, because he's the only one who can control me. Why I'm like that? I said, pray, teach me. What does he do? She says, every time I threw a tantrum, okay, he would pin me against the wall like this. He won't let go until I calm down. It worked. Men, try that. Just pin against the wall and you can't move. And he's like, I'm not letting go. No, I'm not letting go. Okay? And she can't do anything. She can't move. She can't get underneath. She can't do anything. Okay? No, he didn't hit her. God, this woman is so violent. Okay? Just pins against the wall, and she couldn't move. And I probably, she didn't tell me that if she's too violent, she would push harder so she couldn't breathe. That's what I would do on top of it. And then back off a little when she starts, the face starts turning blue. Okay. Anyway, the point is that you subdue them. And in time, she calms down. That's it. That's his secret. And he's the only one who can control her when she's like that. That's why she keeps on going back to him. No other man can do it for her. They all ran away from her. Okay? So the point is that subdue is that requires strength. Okay? And the strength is from self-mastery. If you're stronger, you're not affected. Okay? So this is why you see in Mahayana, our training is very sound. We train you to build your strength first, samadhi first. With samadhi, you have self-mastery. With self-mastery, you can subdue. With more knowledge, more wisdom, you can tame. Okay? So go forth, people. Don't be afraid to get married. Now you know. It applies for both men and women. Okay, so self-mastery here. I don't understand why he talks about these self-mastery. Self-mastery is 自在. 自在 here meaning that's effortless. Okay, effortless is not about knowledge. Okay, self-mastery is that. Why is self-mastery important? Everyone have been married? I'm seeking for insight for married people. Why is self-mastery important? Women, men don't get it. 6, why is self-mastery important?
I think to be able to gain the self-control.
Self-control. Why is self-control important?
I think in my case is to not hurt and others, but as well to not hurt myself, using myself to hurt others.
You don't understand how to control men at all. Okay, anyone else? These dynamics is so important. I don't know how you can get into marriage if you don't understand these key components of relationships. Yes, go first.
Thank you, Master. I think you have to be willing to listen and be kind, and maybe go and see some movies you don't want to see, but you know they really like that.
That's
stuff
called,
like that.
That's called manipulative.
To show that you care about things that they think are enjoyable or fun. And
let me tell you, it works, but we don't appreciate it.
well, you never let them know, you know.
This is even worse. Aren't they scary? Let me tell you. You're lucky you're single. Go ahead, go first. Go ahead, speak up.
Hello. Master, I think you need self-mastery because if you don't have that, then the person you're trying to save won't respect you.
Correct. Okay? One of the worst things you can do in a relationship is make the other person lose respect for you. It doesn't last, let me tell you. It's one of the worst things. You can lie, you can cheat, you can do all sorts of stupid things, but if the other person loses respect for you, that's it. It cannot last. It cannot go the distance. My counselor, you agree? I just made up these rules. So I will tell you, I don't know. I just open my mouth, say stupid things. And it's funny, every weekend, oh yeah, it makes sense. That's why I'm so glad to have professionals in the audience that, I don't know, where do you get it from again? Which book, which annals? It's common sense. I've been married to myself, okay? You have self-mastery. That's how you earn respect from your spouses. Most men have never learned this. They only learn about, I'm going to be stronger, lift weight, and do karate chops and so forth, press you against the wall. No. It's respect. Earn her respect. Earn his respect. That's how you have a chance to go the distance. If not, you become resentful. Towards the end of your relationship, you have no respect for your spouse. It becomes very negative. So much resentment, which I see in so many relationships, so many marriages. It's beyond repair for that reason. Okay, it went around about. It went to Buddhas, now it went to marriages and counseling. Can we go back to this? Self-mastery. Self-mastery is because if you have self-mastery, this is when the demons and the ghosts and the deviant people respect you. Okay? Yes, sir. 3.
Beyond relationships, isn't self-mastery just the core component to wisdom?
Absolutely. You're not flustered because you're not impressed. And it takes a lot of wisdom not to be impressed. Okay? Now, can I share with you the European aristocrats kind of intrigue me. I don't see that in the Jews, the rich people here, the Rockefellers over here. The difference, of course, the difference is that, the European aristocrats, they have class, they have culture. The American people I've seen, Mexican people I've seen, they have culture, but they're not as classy as Europeans, royalties. So that's why they intrigue me. Okay, and what's the difference? Difference is that. Let me see if we can understand, if this makes sense to you. I think we're going off target now, off subject now, so bear with me. You want me to stop because I keep going forever. I can go a tangent forever, and talk until time is up. Okay, I have no problem with that. I'm only concerned about you. It takes you 45 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours to drive here, and that's why I'm more conscious, sensitive to the time that I try to make it worth your while, especially when you'd rather be at home doing tacos and playing video games. Or sleeping. Okay. What I saw, for example, the Americans here, the Jews here, and so forth, and so forth. They're rich. They're richer. They have a lot of money. Okay, they're so rich. They throw money at you, throw money at anything, okay? Yeah, so they're richer, they have more money, they have more power than the aristocrats in Europe. Okay, European aristocrats. What's the difference? Why do I like Europeans more than Americans? Okay, because let's say the Americans, but not just Americans. The Americans are sort of proud of their money, of their power. The aristocrats are not as rich. European aristocrats are not as rich, but they're not as impressed by power or money. That's the difference. Never mind, let's move on. You don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's so lonely. Okay, so self-mastery is one aspect. One aspect of self-mastery is you are not impressed. Okay, you can't be impressed. Others trying so hard to impress you, you don't try to impress, and you're not impressed. That's the difference. You're not impressed either. Damn. Yes, go for us.
Master, could the European aristocrats not being impressed mean like they're not as greedy or as attached?
No, they're greedy. They're attached. But the point here is that they're born into power. Okay, they grew up in power. You grew up in culture. Whereas us over here, we have no power, no culture. So we work so hard, we gave up so much, and to get up there and you become captain in industries and own a lot of stuff and buy arts and pieces of art, spend fortunes buying pieces of art. That's what they call new money, nouveau riche. Whereas they are the old money. They have tradition, they have culture. They are not impressed by because we got it and we're so enamored with it. They grew up in that environment already. They grew up in power. They grew up in opulence. They grew up in culture already. There's no way that they have enough money to buy an old chateau. They cannot have enough money to buy Versailles. Okay? So that's why this is different. They're born into it already. It's taken for granted. They grew up in that environment. Here we grew up in stark contrast from zero poverty and so forth up to where we have, and yes, we have more and we have more power eventually, but they have tradition and we don't. How did we get here? Okay, going back to the Avatamsaka Sutra. Adorning banner sees this and rejoices. So this adorning banners, he understands this process. Next, in response, his spiritual powers manifest like light and shadow. The Dharma wheel he turns is true and actual, identical to space.
神通应现如光影，法轮真实同虚空。
For unending eons he abides in the world. This is a realization of King Magnanimous.
如是处世无央劫，此饶一王之所证。
All right. In response, his spiritual power manifests like light and shadow. Okay, I don't know what he goes in there. Okay, I have 15 minutes to... All right. It's not in response. Okay, the way they explain it is not. They translate is not. It shows they don't understand how these people function. Okay. Okay. Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas at work. They need to manifest in response to the request, response to the needs. Okay? For example, one in Buddhist house, working, and then all of a sudden she receives a call from one of you. It says, one in Buddhist house, please save me, please save me. So she needs to respond. Is that clear? That's how it works. Okay? And and the way these great beings function is that they respond to our requests for help. Okay? And so they use their spiritual powers to manifest accordingly. Not just a response, but in here is in response, but as well as accordingly, okay? In the sense that depending on what they feel is necessary to respond to you most effectively, they do it accordingly. So far, so good? It's clear. So in response to spiritual manifest and so forth, yes, it's 95%, but it's not how I would translate it. It's a little bit clumsy. Yeah? But so that's, you understand that process. They react, they respond to your needs, and they use their spiritual powers to do so. So far, so good? Okay. Like light and shadow. This is where I disagree with Master YongHua. Okay? He's talked about light and shadow here, like a light is the person's shadows. When light appears, shadows vanish. And karmic obstacles resemble shadows, and spiritual power and wisdom resemble light. Okay? Karmic obstacles resemble eyes, and spiritual power, wisdom, light resemble the sun, and so forth. Okay? And back to the source. Okay? No. I disagree with that. I personally feel that the spiritual powers is referred to spiritual powers, okay? They respond like light and shadow. You have to take in the context here. What he's saying here is correct, but it's not consistent with the spirit here of the Chinese verses. He says the spiritual powers manifest like light and shadow. Okay? It only refers to the fact that sometimes you need to manifest the response by manifesting light. Sometimes they respond by manifesting shadow, because sometimes, depending on circumstances, shadow is more effective than light. That's all it means. Okay? And so, meaning the range is, they have a wide range. And this is what you need to be aware of. You don't simply say, you don't come and help people by threatening them, by beating them up. Sometimes you have to cajole them. Sometimes you have to speak softly. Sometimes you have to joke around with them, and so forth. So light and shadow refers to the full range, the extent of the range here of their responses. Sometimes light, very bright, very obvious, very grandiose. That's light, that's yang. And shadow is yin. Sometimes it's yang or yin, depending on what needs to be done. Okay? So it's not connected. Not the way that the Master YongHua explains it. What do you think? Okay, I'm glad you agree. Okay. The Dharma return is true and actual, identical to space. Dharma will. How does he respond? How does he help? He helps by speaking Dharma to us. That's what it's called turning the Dharma wheel. Yes, DTT.
A Di Đà Phật, con nghĩ cái câu mà thần thông như quang ảnh đó là quý ngài đã từ trong cái chân không mà hiện ra sắc. Nó không có cái ta trỏng, cái ảnh với cái quang nó không có cái ta, không có ngã trỏng. Hiện như quang như ảnh là nói chung á, sắc nó không có cái ngã trỏng. Từ trong cái chân không mà hiện ra sắc. Một câu sau là thần thông như là hư không. Hư không nó không có cái ta, cái ngã, các ngài trong cái Như Lai Tạng. Cái không nó sanh ra mọi thứ để độ chúng sanh, cái căn nào, cơ nào thì ngài hiện. Những cái hiện đó ra không có cái ngã, trong cái thần thông nó không có ngã của mấy ngài trỏng. Ý con nghĩ câu kệ như vậy đó.
Yeah, that's another angle. Yes, but I don't think that it has to do with light making shadows vanish. It has nothing to do with it. Okay, it refers to the range. Sometimes light, sometimes shadow. Sometimes hard, sometimes soft. Sometimes sweet, sometimes sour. That kind of thing. Range he's talking about. Effectiveness is the purpose, the goal. Yes. 5.
Thank you, Master. Can I also be that light is the duality with the shadow? So every time there's one, there's the other one present. The same as every time we have the necessity of the potential, the Buddha manifests in response of that?
Yes. So the full range, basically. Yes? Oh. All right. The Dharma wheels he turns is true and actual. Okay? True refers to the nature, actual refers to the action. Okay? You will is when you speak the Dharma, okay, there is the true and actual aspects of the Dharma you speak. Okay? True is that you talk about, for example, true you talk about the nature, your Buddha nature. You talk about the essence of the being. Okay? Actual is what you need to get there, what you need to make it manifest. Is that clear? Okay? And so that's what he says. The Dharma wheel is a combination both theory and actions. Concepts and deeds. You don't simply speak the Dharma wheel, turn the Dharma wheel by simply talk about theory alone. Okay? Very much like when you go to the meeting, you keep on talking top thing, and then you stand up and you walk away. At the end of that meeting, you should say, you have something called call for actions. Yeah? Okay. Otherwise, the meeting would have been in vain. All right? So that's what true and actual refers to. Identical to space refers to that it is pervasive. Doesn't restrict himself in any way. Space contains everything. You can fit everything into space. Okay? You can take space and you stuff and keep on stuffing and stuffing, and you never run out of space. Okay? So it's endless. Concept of endless. Okay? So what he speaks about, what he teaches is endless. Okay? Not only is it endless, but it also refers to the fact that it's very vast and broad and profound. All right? For unending eons, he abides in the world. He 如是处事无样界. He abides in the world. Basically, he will stay in the world as long as necessary to save living beings. Okay? So he'll come and go when necessary. This is realization of King Magnanimous. So that's what this Kumbhanda king understands. Questions? No questions? Are we happy? Anyway, I'd like to close by telling you here in Los Angeles, it's about in the 90s degrees Fahrenheit. It's hot. Luckily for us, it's not that humid. Okay, and it's just a side note, just gossiping with you. At the Wei Mountain Temple, the front doors are 2 wooden doors, very old. Okay. What happened to G.I. Joe? He left too? Okay, so 2 wooden doors and very, very old. And there twice in a year where I have a hard time closing the front doors. Okay, once is when it rains. Okay, then the door expands. And you can't really close it tight. You can't lock it. So that's when I walk to the basement. I don't go to the front door. And then when it's hot like today, the door expands so much that you can't close it either. Just tidbits for you. No, it's nonsense. Thank you, everyone. Sangwok Sinim, smile. It's not that bad.